Stan, welcome to the Wiretap. It's good to fucking have you on, buddy.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. We've known each other for a little bit, I feel like,
Uh,
because a little
about
bit.
about a couple of years, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of years. I met you when I think probably at a Two Click show. Probably,
Probably.
probably, probably at a Two Click show. How's shit been, man? How's it been since the pandemic and all?
Bro, it has been busy. Let's see. Since the last time I saw you guys, Two Clicks ended. Moved on, doing other stuff, keeping busy. Proposed to my girlfriend. We're getting married in October. That's gonna be fun.
Nice.
Just been busy, dude. You know.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, no, I remember when my band broke up. That was the fucking busiest time of my life because I was like scrambling to find shit to do.
Seriously.
It feels like you should be relaxing, but
It
you're
really
not.
does.
But you're not.
And like Two Clicks wasn't my wasn't my only project either. It's like I
Yeah.
got other projects that are popping off too. So my hands have been full.
Exactly. So speaking of which, where would people be able to find like your art and stuff really quickly?
Currently, well, my main project right now is Everything Sucks. That's a punk band I started about 5 years ago. You can find us everywhere at Everything Sucks. We really only bother with Facebook, and honestly, I wouldn't really follow us mainly because like it sounds bad. We're not like a band that's out there trying to make it. We're just like a bunch of buddies who we just wanted to open up and get free drinks at a bar, you know. So
Yeah.
we
It,
just open up. We just put a project together so we could play with our buddies and drink for free.
yeah, dude, I feel that. If I ever make music again, that's gonna be how it is. Because I just the whole like in Scourge, we're like we're gonna try to make shit and do shit, and it's fucking so annoying and tiring.
I did that. Well, I feel like that part of that whole chapter of my life is done and over with. You know, I'm 34 now. I'm like the older dude in the scene, and I'm very aware of that. So, so my idea was always like, hey, you know, I like playing in front of a stage. I mean, it's what I've always done. So. I just put a group of my buddies together and we started playing some shows. Speaking of like my old touring days, so my fiance and I are from Kansas and we're flying back to Wichita for our wedding, and for my bachelor party, my old band that like did all the touring stuff, we're doing a reunion show. It's
Oh,
like
that's
10 years,
so sick.
it's our 10-year anniversary of our album that we put out in 2011. It's a band called Untapped Market. We're the worst named metalcore band of all time. But it's exciting. I can't believe we're pulling this off because, like I said, we've been broken up for. I moved away and the band fell apart, so about 8 years now.
Holy shit, that's so sick though.
It's crazy, dude. What I ended up doing is like we were a band for 10 years, so we had members coming in and out the whole time. And for this one-time reunion show, I got every member that's ever been in the band ever. So we're gonna do like a whole crazy like lineup swap
Holy
while we're playing.
shit,
We're gonna go through a whole like from the beginning to the end type of deal. It's gonna be awesome.
that's
I'm really
so
pumped for it.
sick. That's such a sick idea. I love
Thanks.
that. Yeah, no, that sounds like it's gonna be fucking awesome.
Pretty pumped for it. Yeah.
So, really quickly, I wanted to pick your brain really quick about some music. What you been listening to lately? What's some like recent releases, or not even recent necessarily, but some stuff you've been listening to a lot?
Oh man, I've been all over the place. I've recently discovered that like a lot of my bad moods were caused by the fact that I was purely listening to nothing but angry, hateful shit all the time.
Yeah.
And I I had to step out of that mindset a little bit, and actually Wadge kind of helped me with this. Homie back from Two Clicks. I don't know if the audience is familiar with Wadge at all, but
I love Wedge.
Wadge is the homie. He recently started work. I got him hired on at my job, and bro is he's a very pop punk,
Yes.
happy mentality dude.
Yes.
So
He's a happy hardcore kind of person.
yeah. So we've been kicking it, and I have another buddy back home who's going to be one of my groomsmen, who's kind of the same mind space as Wadge, just one of the super posy dudes who listens to nothing but good pop punk. So I've been listening to stuff like Driveways, Chief State, a lot of that kind of stuff. A lot of my fallbacks is always Comeback Kid, Turnstile,
Oh yeah.
Terror, you know, all the classic stuff.
Yeah.
Judge, all the old shit.
All the good shit. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, no, I remember I've only seen Terror one time, but I saw them when they went on tour with Knocked Loose, and that was a fucking crazy show.
I can imagine.
It was like it was like Year of the Knife, Jesus Piece, Terror, and Knocked Loose, and that it was all in Elko, and it was just like a fully like sold out Elko, which you
That's
know
awesome.
a sold out Elko means like it's packed to the door.
Oh yeah, you're nuts to butt all the way through.
Oh yeah. And that was a fucking wild show. During Terror Set, it was just stage diving. That was like all that was happening was just fucking stage diving. It was sick.
I have missed Terror every time I've ever had a chance. Like if I was living in a place and they came through, I always missed them. The only time I've ever seen them was the time right before the pandemic when Two Clicks was asked to open up for him, and I was like, "Fuck, that's like my favorite band. Fuck yeah, like Nick, you got to
Hell
get
yeah.
on this." Like,
Hell yeah, dude.
I was pumped. But Terror has been through Wichita. I'm from Wichita, Kansas originally, and I feel like blessed and cursed being from that place because it's in the middle of nowhere. Nothing ever comes through. Period. But if you're a tenacious dude like I am myself, who like, oh man, this is back in the MySpace days. You'd be following a band wherever they're going, right?
Yeah.
And they have an off day. You'd shoot them a MySpace message like, "Hey, we've got this hall rented for the night. Come through." And you'd have shows just kind of put together last minute constantly where I'm from. And every damn time Terror was thrown on the bill last minute, my band was on tour. And it's like, fuck, I want to see these guys so bad. But it was cool. We have a lot of fun stories that came out of stuff like that, though, because like we would have Hoods jumped on tons of shows with us back in the day, and there was a really cool show once where Cute Is What We Aim For was supposed to play, but they couldn't, like, I don't know, their singer missed a flight or something. We were
Yeah.
like the first night or whatever. But Winds of Plague was in the area. They were like driving through Oklahoma aimlessly, so we were like, "Dude, we got a show. Come up here." And they came up, and we didn't tell nobody. So we had all these Cute Is What We Aim For kids, you know, with their slashed emo haircuts, just getting ready for this. And here comes Winds of Plague, just destroying everybody.
On that 2008 shit. Oh god, that's so sick. That's so funny. I love that. Yeah, no, like Midwest is one of those places I feel like where it's just like shit just kind of happens.
You want me to blow your mind real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so we're from a group that's like, the cool thing about Kansas is the music scene out there is super connected. It's not like out here where you have just your Seattle guys, and then you just have your Spokane guys, your Tacoma guys.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of keeps to themselves. The cool thing out there is like Wichita is such a concentrated area, but the state is just as big as Washington. So it's like you have people from Kansas City connecting all the time, and people will drive hours to shows just because it's Kansas, dude. What else are we gonna do?
Yeah, yeah.
And a couple of the times it's gnarly what you get out there. I specifically remember it was 2009 or 10. Chelsea Grin it was right before Chelsea Grin blew up. Dude, they played at a park, like a free park. I booked them with those guys. We had Dr. Acula.
Oh, dude.
We had Attila open up. Like, it was crazy.
Dude, that's crazy.
And at the same place, we like a couple months later, Chelsea Grin was coming through again, and we held like a basement show with these guys. And they're huge now. It's never imagined stuff like that.
That's why I always tell people
from out there.
Yeah, that's why I always tell people about like the alternative music scene in general is like every single one of your favorite bands most likely started as a basement band. Like,
yeah,
like that's the cool thing about it is that it's like they either started as a basement band or you get someone like, oh, fuck, I forget what band it was, but the one band like was like, oh, we're gonna play like we're gonna open up for Rob Zombie or some shit as like one of their first shows, and then like the next show they're like, some record company was like, can we sign you? And they were like, what the fuck?
Right.
Like that almost never happens, but most of the time it's like, hey, you want to play this basement show? You'll get free beer. We can't pay you, but you know. And it's like, and they're like, okay, fuck it.
It's definitely a labor of love, because I mean, a lot of your shit's gonna get broken in a basement. So
that is by
those crappy fucking houses that
Yeah.
every window's broken out in, so no one really cares.
Yeah, that is one of my biggest regrets about Scourge is that we never played a basement show, and I'm so
Oh
sad
man.
about it. I'm so sad about that. I kind of had a similar thing with you with Terror though, because Scourge opened up for Dying Fetus and Diar's Murder, which are two of my like huge inspirations vocally.
Right.
So I was like, they back when Studio 7 fucking existed, they were like, "Do you guys want to hop on this?" And I was like, "I don't want to hop on it because I don't want to play a Studio 7, but I really want to fucking hop on it."
That's hilarious.
So we ended up opening up for them for Dying Fetus and Dire. They were both the headliners. Then I think it was Enterprise Earth and Rivers of Nile, I think as well. And Sanction. Sanction was on it too, which was weird as fuck. I don't know why Sanction was on that bill, but
Who cares? They're
yeah,
there.
it was really funny because like we played and we are kind of like a deathcore hardcore sound, so people were like throwing like hardcore dancing and shit like that and slam dancing, and then fucking Sanction comes on and same thing, and then as soon as Sanction's off, like half the venue files out. It was like, ooh.
Man, I don't know how old you are really, but back in my day when I was like fresh to the scene, so we're talking like Jesus Christ, 2007, if not, as I'd been in there for a few years. In 2007, there was like no scene for anything alternative where I'm from. So you would have shows that you'd have like your Drive-Through Records pop punk band with like your deathcore, and then like your happy hardcore band, and then you have like a weird synth moog based project. Dude, we had the weirdest shows, but like, and it was awesome because that you kind of saw the beginning of like the whole like hardcore, like basically like the easy core thing where basically it's just pop punk with breakdowns. And
Yeah.
you I've been seeing like kids hardcore dance to stupid shit that they should have no business dancing to anyway, and it's awesome, man. I love little shows like
Dude.
that. They're just mixed and crazy, and having a rapper with a bunch of metalheads.
Dude, okay, so one of my first band that ever played a show was Visceral Embodiment. Fucking hated our music, but we were like a mellow death band. We were like a mellow death band, so, and I was like 18, so I was like, yeah, mellow death, extreme shit or whatever the fuck. And we got asked to fill in for a band that dropped off a bill at Elko. And I think it was for Empyrean, I think was the band that was doing it. But that's where I met what is now all the guys in Scythe Gang and all them.
Yeah.
That's where I met all of them because their old band was also on that bill. But we were the first band, and then the next band after that was a pop punk band. And I was like, it was like us doing our like shitty, edgy, like mellow death, like everyone dies alone, nihilism bullshit, and then like it's just like fucking Close to the Clouds, like pop punk, like just super happy and upbeat, like girl broke up with me, but hey, I'm gonna be fine. It's like shit, this is a weird bill. And
those are the best bills.
they are the
time.
best. And then we played a show one time with like it was, I mean, I guess it was like a battle of the bands type bullshit, but we just wanted to play a show, so we're like whatever.
Right.
And we had no like grandiose like delusion of like fucking winning because we knew our music wasn't the best, so, but we were like, we just want to play a show, whatever. And we went on like right after a rapper, and then went on directly before like a weird like I think it was like some weird industrial bullshit. I don't remember the band's name, but it was like some industrial shit, and I was like, we are smack in the middle of fucking weird zone, and I'm okay with that.
Party.
Yeah, it was sick though. It was super sick. I love shows like that. Mixed bills are super cool because it's like you kind of have to like as a booker, you kind of have to think of it like you're setting up a playlist for someone or some shit.
Exactly. Like where I'm from, we didn't have a company that was booking shows at 4 or 5 different places. We didn't even have it 4 or 5 different venues.
Yeah.
For us, the way we had to go about it is if you didn't have someone that had a bedroom, like a basement that you could play in, you would play maybe at the you could get someone's shed rented for a night or something. It's pretty gnarly out there on the high plains, man. There's
Yeah.
nowhere to play, and if you can get a bar to let you in, like you're only going to be playing it for 4 or 5 months before they get sick of the noise. So
Yeah, exactly. I feel you. Yeah. No, I was because recently I've been writing this documentary. I'll let you and anyone in chat on a little secret about what it's about. I'm writing a documentary about Fugazi and about how they kind of like made the DIY scene what it is, and like their philosophy about it was just like they liked playing in weird places because it made the monotony of tour like interesting.
Exactly.
And so like you find the guy with the Elks cabin, you find the guy with the fucking space in the back of his pizzeria, you find the guy with the gallery or the arcade or whatever the fuck, and you just show up because kids will show up. So
Exactly.
you just do it.
The best thing about that is the weirdest venues that are always just like you said, they're in the middle of nowhere, but kids show up because that's all we had to do, man. Like my favorite shows, like we Untapped Market toured probably between like '09 and we finally called it quits in 2014. So we would pop out and we'd go all the way up from border to border. We never really were able to go much east or west. Mainly because it's way too expensive, and we didn't want to take our shitty vans over the mountains and get stuck. So
yeah, it's fair, man.
So we would head down to Texas, and we did a full month in Texas one year, and it was awesome, dude. Like there's so many little podunk places. We played in this one place. Jesus Christ, what were they called? It was the M Lips Lounge in El Paso, and it was a gay bar, which was awesome at the time because I mean, like, you just have somewhere to play, but they had like this really dope sound system, and like, but it's right in the heart of the gay district, so you had like all these like death metal, like straight black clothes, just hanging out with all these super like happy dudes, and it was the best show we've ever had. A bunch of dudes like flinging fruity drinks with us, and we were slamming them and having a great time, dude. Like El Paso is a scary town to be in, but like that was probably the best place we could have played in. Like it was just weird and wild, and man, I have so many stories from that night.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Like one of the best venues I've ever found is this little tiny bar in like SeaTac. Or actually, no, I don't think it's in SeaTac. It's like a super outer like Seattle. It's called like the Lucky Liquor. And I played there. Yeah, I fucking love that place. Like we played with when I was in my mellow death band, we played with this band called Vesuvian all the time just because our sounds matched really well, and plus we're all friends with the guys in there. And so whenever they like booked a show, they would just have us on it. We were like the little brother riding the coattails. It was great. And and plus a lot more people liked Vesuvian than us, so it was like nice. We get to play a show with people in it. Yes.
I think we've all been there, dude.
Oh yeah. And so we would just pull up to the Lucky Liquor. They'd be like, "Here's your drink tickets," and they give us a shitload too, which is ironic because we were all underage. But they were like, once they found out we were all underage, like, "Oh, never mind, give me the drink tickets back, give those back." And then they're like, "But instead we'll give you like food," and we're like, cool. Cool. And it's like this little this little tiny like 100 capacity. Oh, there's my cat. It's like this one little like 100 capacity like bar, and it's just so like the ceiling, like if I'm standing, the ceiling comes to like fucking here. Like I can't even like jump. I'm like 6'1" and I can't even fucking do anything on stage, but it's so sick, and it has like a nice sound system. It's just in the middle of nowhere, like this, like right outside of Seattle. Like they're like competing with fucking Elko and the Crocodile and the Kraken and shit. It's like there's like this little like tiny bar that's just like, yeah, come fucking wreck our venue, who cares? And it's like, dude, I love that.
I love Lucky Liquor. If Everything Sucks isn't playing at the Kraken, we're probably playing at Lucky Liquor.
I fucking love that place. It's so nice, and plus they just let you book like kind of whatever there. I booked a show there. It's the only show I've ever booked. I booked a show there with I think it was for my bassist's birthday or some shit. I forgot what, but it was like us, Vesuvian, and like a couple other of our friends that were like in the death metal community. I think Species Splicer, I don't remember. But yeah, it was a good time. That's actually Lucky Liquor's actually how I met the guys in Species Splicer too, because we hopped on like a Halloween show there with Vesuvian, and Species was playing, and we're like, oh, there's a slam band in Seattle, what the fuck? And yeah, and that's how we met those guys.
That's so wild to me, because like like in our scene, like I said, there's so little people doing it. Like everyone knows everyone, and like if someone's making a move. So like,
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the thing that's weird about Seattle is that we have like a weirdly we have like a kind of divided scene. Like I mean, being in the hardcore scene, like everybody in the hardcore scene,
yeah,
but you don't necessarily know everybody in like the extreme metal scene or in like the punk scene or whatever. Like that was like probably the weirdest experience I've had recently. Well, not recently. I guess it would have been over a year ago because pandemic. But like, I've been going to hardcore and metal shows since like probably 2015, something like that, 2015, 2014, something like that. Because I went to school with Benny and Nick Olson from Avoid, so whenever they were playing a show, I would just fucking pull through because they're like, oh, my boys, they're going places, and which they fucking are. I'm so proud of them.
They
but
really
like,
are.
but I like recently, or not recently, but I went to a folk punk show in like this at the Hive. Fucking love that place.
Oh, I remember the Hive. Are they still like around? Do you know?
I don't know. I hope I hope they're still around because they're such a sick house venue. But like, so I pulled up into the Hive and I knew some of these people because I'm like part of the folk punk scene online, but I have never seen any of them in person. And so I pulled up and it was like I was transported back to like 2015, 2014, where I just walked into a venue and knew no one. Right. I was just like, oh, I'm the new guy here. This is weird. I haven't been this in a while.
That's exactly how I felt when I started playing with Two Clicks, because like I knew Dell through his buddy Chucky, who was part of the punk scene. So it's like I walked into a whole, like, I don't get me wrong, I've been playing metalcore and like punk for years and years, but I walked in this whole scene that I didn't even know existed in Seattle because I had been looking for a band to join. I was looking to start a band for a while. In fact, one of the only people that ever hit me up was Maisie from Triple Scythe Gang. It's like
666 Click.
Yeah, those dudes are fucking tight.
Dude, they are.
But that was before the I Am Infamy, so it'd been a while. So seeing them doing like everything that they do is like everything I tried to get Two Clicks to do. It's like, hey, stupid. It's like we should do dumbass little videos, like fucking everything they're doing is awesome.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I'm
no,
so
I've been championing this for a while of like bands need, especially in the Seattle scene, because bands need to get on like fucking thinking of YouTube not as like this secondary like whatever thing, but thinking of it as like a delivery system for their music by other means. Like that's why Scythe Gang is so popular. That's why Cut Both Ways is so popular. Not necessarily because their music is insane and awesome, but also because Cut Both Ways releases a music video for every song they pretty much put out.
Yeah.
And not only that, but they put out studio vlogs, they put out interviews on their channel, and and like Scythe Gang like puts out the fucking challenges where they put a shock collar on poor Michael's neck and like and like they release a music video for every song. Like that's why they're so big, is because they create a reason to listen to their songs with visuals.
Exactly.
And like I just keep like yelling at Seattle bands like, do this, do it, let me do it for you. I will do it cheap because I just want you to succeed.
I feel like Two Clicks was my last. I don't know. I feel like I'm a little bit too old to be trying to make it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I feel you.
so I felt like, I don't know. I was always trying to get Wadge and everybody to do all the fun stuff. I thought Landon was doing cool shit when he was like live streaming all the shows. And he does all like the fucking like the playthroughs and like everything Landon does. I was like, yes, let's just make this like one cohesive like thing and push it out. Two Clicks will take over the world. It's like basically like it's like when Cut Both Ways started putting out the studio vlogs, it was like, guys, that's what we need to be doing, and like we just didn't do it. So I don't know, but that album came out recently. I'm glad that album's finally out.
I am too. I am too. Like, yeah, no, I feel you. Like when, dude, I do feel you though. Like Landon's just built different. I feel like I had Landon on a couple.
He's a machine.
Yeah,
he's a machine. He's a different breed entirely.
Yeah. Like I had them on a couple episodes ago, and it was possibly one of the funniest episodes just naturally because Landon's just fucking hilarious. Yeah,
that was great. Yeah,
Landon's just hilarious as a human being, and I love him so much. He's great. Plus, I think the last time I saw you guys was that show I filmed for the music video that never came out at in Landon's backyard. God, what a fucking wild show that was.
That was all I remember is playing, and suddenly there's sheetrock being thrown around. I was like, "What the fuck is going on? This is wild." Yeah, good times, man. I miss those dudes. I miss that band. It was a fun time. It bums that the things ended, but it is what it is. So.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel that about Scourge every now and again. I get really nostalgic because we never released our EP, but I have all the songs. Yeah. I have all the tracks on my computer. So every now and again, I'll just unzip that folder on my hard drive and take a listen. I'm like, I remember when I used to make things. I
hope all those dudes are doing good now. I heard a couple of guys have some new projects and they're joining new bands and stuff, which is dope. Like as bad as pandemic's been to everyone, I can't wait to see what comes next. And everything's so cool.
I forget who I forget who on my podcast said it, but we're talking about how like the pandemic's going to bring about this like kind of new boom of music here because everybody's been stuck inside and pissed off. So it's like perfect for hardcore. Exactly. So it's like because everyone just wants to be back. I
feel like that Code Orange show it was that big one they did for Twitch a while back.
Oh yeah.
I think that was kind of like the ignition for it because after that everyone was like, all right, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Next thing I know, we got bands like Kaizo dropping awesome fucking shit.
Dude, right? And Hardcore Keem checked it out. Dude, it's so good. And not only that, but like fucking Hardcore Keem checked it out and shit, which is super sick. Like I'm so excited for Kaizo. Like they seem like they're really fucking going for it, and I'm happy for that. Plus, I mean, like we've had the same like not to say that there's not any other bands, but we've had the same like kind of 5 hardcore bands kind of ruling that like upper echelon of the Seattle scene for a while now, and like it's so sick to see fucking like Ray's band is doing great, like Kaizo's doing great, like I'm so excited to see like the new kind of like wave of hardcore that comes out of Seattle because of this pandemic. Like it's gonna be sick.
And even with the old names, like I know Dirt Nap's been doing stuff, and I don't know what they've been working on. I don't know what they've been working on. I don't talk to those dudes a whole lot, but I fucking love everything they've ever put out.
True.
So I can't wait to see what they put out next.
I think Huck posted like a bit of footage from their practice space on his Instagram story, and I was just like, oh, I got like so instantly like I need to fucking punch someone. I need to go back to a show.
Well, I'm really pumped because I recently saw that Nick moved to guitar, and Big Nick recently joined. I'm hearing, which is dope because. What's better than a 5-piece or 4-piece that was already sick? Getting an extra guitar,
dude,
like, that's
right?
gonna be dope as fuck.
It's gonna be thick as shit, dude. Yeah, I'm excited, and plus just Big Nick's stage presence in general. He's just an intimidating guy. Ironically, because fuck, I love him. He's such a sweetheart, but he's so intimidating on stage.
Yeah, he's a mean guy. There was one show I don't understand what happened, but I think it was mentioned in your podcast with Landon. I think like Landon might have like kicked him a little bit when he was like over, and he fell over, and I'm just like going nuts in my spot because that's what I was always doing. All I know is like suddenly there's like an arm swinging, so I thought Nick was dancing or something, and Landon just gets like clocked in the head. So I was like, okay, shit. And then I get clocked in the head, and I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, I was ready to like set my shit down and start fighting myself, but I was like, oh fuck, it was Nick. All right.
That's how it is, man. I remember my last show that we played with Scourge. We opened for Filth and Loser, which fucking love both of them so much, and we opened for them at the Funhouse. And I was we'd gotten off stage. It was during Phil's set. I was kind of standing back by the bar entrance, and fucking I just felt like a big fucking hand just clock me in the top of the dome, and I was like, "Who the fuck's about to?" It's Nick. Just kind of like turned back around, and he just laughed at me.
Man, yeah, we had a bit of a falling out at the end of 2 Clicks, which is sad. I think it was a big misunderstanding, and if Nick ever hears this, buddy, I miss you. So
yeah. Dude, I remember speaking of Nick stories really quickly. I remember I went to see Days and Days and Amigo the Devil and HJ, like a bunch of folk punk at Numos right before the pandemic hit, and Nick was working, I think either bar or security or some shit, like one of those areas, and he was standing like at, me and him were talking because I didn't expect him to see him there because he fucking hates folk punk. So like so I was like, what the fuck are you doing here? And he's like, working. And I was like, oh, this must be a nightmare for you. And he's like, he like hoodie up, like scrunched, so it's just like his face. He's like, yeah, bro, this sucks. And then like during one set, I was standing next to him, and he just like leaned in and said, "Should I just start like slam dancing right now?" And I was like, I mean, go off, King. Fuck it, why not?
Yeah, that dude has a sense of humor that's very similar to mine. I appreciate it. So
I feel ya, yeah. I love him. When we were he was sitting in my fucking living room, and we'd walked in. He first time he'd ever been to my house, and I grabbed a beer for myself while I was gonna sit down and edit. And he was like, "Wait, you don't offer me one?" I'm like, "Nick, you're straight edge. Why would I offer you one?" And he's like, "You can still offer me." And I was like, "Okay, Nick, do you want a beer?" And he's like, "No, why would you offer me that?" And I was like, "I fucking hate you."
followed up by a "fuck you," I'm sure.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Why would you offer me that? Fuck you. Yeah, that dude's fucking funny.
Yeah, he's super fucking funny. But yeah, no, like music wise, I think during the pandemic I've also been like spanning out more, like
Yeah.
my listening stuff, just because like with hardcore and punk, it's so much of like a vibe sound, like you want to kind of hear it live, because that's what it's used for, is like the vibe of the room and all that kind of stuff. So like I've been branching out a lot more into weird styles of music, and kind of just like listening to weird shit that I don't normally listen to. Do you have like a similar kind of
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah, dude. I don't really, I don't know. I don't really play a whole lot of instruments. I'm mainly just a bassist and a singer. So I wanted to branch out a little bit. So I got this software for my Nintendo Switch called the Core Gadget. And all it is, man, it's basically just like it's a DAW. Basically, you pull it up, you plug a bunch of shit into it, and you're just doing like you're just making beats. It's a beat maker. You just play with these different like synthesizer machines and drum machines, and you mix it all together. And like it's weird. Like you can make a bunch of like dumb stuff. You can make a bunch of like good like house music stuff. Like I don't know, man. It's been fun just dicking around with that, because I only write punk rock. I don't really write like hardcore. I'm not very good at it. Like I try to write a good hardcore song. It comes out like some shitty punk rock song. That's why I started the punk band.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I remember when I tried to start a punk band, when I was in my mellow death band, because I've always loved punk, but I just never played it, because
Yeah.
I don't have, because I'm mainly a vocalist. I can like get by playing punk on bass, because it's like, what if you're not trying to do anything special, I can get by with punk on bass, or bass
Right.
on punk. But like I just don't have the voice for punk, because I'm more of a like scream vocalist. And
Mhm.
so I was like, yeah, I'll try this thing. I'll try playing bass for it. That'll be fun. I just bought a bass. I just started learning. It'll be fun. And it just fell apart so immediately, dude.
I kind of just like landed in bass. Honestly, I started out as a singer. Well, I take that back. As a drummer, I was a very very bad drummer. And my buddies were like, "Yo, like you can sing. Like, how about we just sing? We'll go get a real drummer." And I was like, "Fuck it, dude. That's fair." That band was called Question of Honor, and we played. Well, I never played a show with them as the singer. I actually ended up quitting because I was skateboarding at the time. I was sponsored and was like doing contests and shit. I was like, sorry guys, I just don't have time to do all this stuff.
Holy shit, that's awesome.
I was I don't know, man. I ended up getting hurt real bad, and I ended up playing with those guys again. But as a bassist that time, they're like, we don't have a bass player. Here's how you fucking do this shit. And I was like,
Oh,
all right,
really?
cool. I was like, okay, cool. So ever since then, I just like they basically just put tabs in front of my face and I would play them. And I joined Untapped Market as kind of like a super group of the local area, because my band Question of Honor used to play with this other band called Unheard Apology, and like the best parts of all those bands kind of got together, and we were the biggest band in the area for like 5 years.
Oh shit,
Played
yeah.
every metal show that ever came through. So like I never really like knew what I was doing. It was just like, hey bro, can you play Guitar Hero? Because I'm a big gamer. Like I don't
Oh
like
yeah.
you said you're streaming video right now.
Yeah.
This is my video game collection. I got this gigantic wall of games.
Holy shit.
Like 31 different systems, 32 systems.
Yeah, I remember you talking about it on my fucking Discord, and I was like, oh, good shit, Stan. And I didn't really visualize it, but yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, I got a huge collection. So they were like, you play plenty of Guitar Hero. Like, dude, here's how you read tabs. It's just like Guitar Hero. And they gave me like a copy of Guitar Pro, and I joined this metal band, and that's how I got good at playing music.
Holy shit, nice. Yeah, that's insane. Like I okay, so switching gears very quickly over the video games because I feel like I have to ask, like, what is like the peak console for you?
Like my favorite of all time,
Yeah, like that's a hard question, I
man.
know, but
I had a feeling you would ask that, so I kind of been thinking about it all day. I think right now it's probably my. It has to be my Switch right now. It's the one that
yeah,
gets the most play gameplay. Like it's amazing. Like who doesn't want to take any game that you can play on your TV out to the fucking venue with you and just play a little bit of Zelda before a show? I did that so often. Like I don't really know anyone in the scene because I have social anxiety. So like I would sit in my truck, smoke a fucking joint, and play a little bit of fucking whatever I had on my Switch at the time until it came time for a show, and Nick or Dell or Wadge or whoever pulled me inside.
that's sick though. Yeah, no, I think right now for me is also probably my Switch because I play. I used to speed run Mario Odyssey, and then I kind of was just like, wow, this is getting too technical and I'm too bad. So I'm just gonna chill. But like, and because I played Smash 4 competitively, so I was like, oh, Ultimate, I'm gonna play Ultimate. And I got picked up Ultimate, and I was like, wow, this I don't enjoy playing this as much. So I just haven't like done anything like that for Ultimate. But like, yeah, I feel like it's probably my Switch too. But my favorite of all time is probably the GameCube because that was the first one I got. The first,
Yeah,
my parents
yeah.
didn't let me have a console until I was like 10 or 11 or some shit. And then my mom was like, fine, you can get a console. And I was like, cool, GameCube, mine.
I was a military kid, so like we didn't move around like as much as you would think, but like we had to move around quite a bit, so I never really made a ton of friends because like why put the effort in, right? So my mom and I were both gamers. Like we'd sit around and just play fucking Mario Brothers all the time while we were super young, and then we got a Super Nintendo after that. So I just grew up with it. I think picking out my least favorite system out of like the main ones is easier to say than picking out my favorite one.
Oh yeah.
And
Okay.
it's Nintendo.
What's the one
It's
that you have the
it's
least love for?
it makes a lot of people mad when I say it, but it's the 64.
Oh really?
Man, a lot of people sit there and they're like, "Oh, 64 was great. I want to go back and play Mario Kart and Mario 64. Yeah, those games are great." And then they're like, "Oh, I want to play GoldenEye." It's like, dude, you don't want to go back and play GoldenEye.
No, it has not aged
GoldenEye
well.
is fucking trash. Like, there's so many. I it's a small like as far as like okay, so I'm a collector and like you have your own like collecting groups and you have a
Yeah.
lot of dudes who are always like, I'm gonna go for this full set. I want every game ever released. A lot of them are going for the 64 right now
Yeah.
because it's a small collection, and then they just look at everything through the rosy tinted glasses, and
Yep.
retro is like the hot thing right now in collecting, I guess. So
Yeah.
they go after all these games, and you'll see them turn around and sell everything in like a year because they're like, man, these games just aren't as good as I remember. And you're like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I talk about it. I talk about it a lot, and sometimes on the podcast, but mainly in my videos, that like nostalgia plays a huge factor of why you like things. Like I went back recently, listened to a bunch of the like emo post hardcore shit I grew up listening to, and like let me tell you, man, does not age well. Like
I've been doing the same thing the last month. Yes, I feel you. Yeah. I recently found out that there's a band that I'd fucking loved when I was like starting to go to shows, and they're called Huxley. Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, Huxley. Huxley's the one I'm thinking of, and I can't find their shit anywhere. But then one of my friends popped up and was like, "Hey, I have this fucking CD that they had. Here's a couple tracks that are on it," and sent them over to me. And they're garbage, dude. Why did I ever fucking like that band? Like, what the fuck,
dude, I feel that like for I recently because recently went back and listened to like all my favorites, and like I still love Chiodos still kicks ass because they're just weird, and I like From First to Last still just because I love Sonny's vocals, and then like Census Fell I'll always love because they were the first band I found on my own. But like Bless the Fall, like fucking Pierce the Veil, like all that shit, I was just like, this did not age well.
I feel like I got into like this kind of underground scene a little bit differently than everybody else. So like I don't have a whole lot of nostalgia for big names like that, which I know is kind of weird. But like I was always at this fucking skate park in Wichita. It was the same place that a couple of the dudes would book shows. So like that's how I got into stuff. Like there's a band called Lorien Drive. I used to love Lorien Drive. I saw Lorien Drive there, and they're like their lyrics like the most cringy shit. Like it's the most like, look at me, I'm a fucking pretty pop punk boy. Like, it's like, dude, what the fuck is this stuff? Like, why did I like this shit? But it's dope too because that's where I found bands like Wretched. You know
Oh
who Wretched
yeah,
is?
yeah.
Wretched is so fucking good.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Like the only real nostalgia that I have for, I mean, that's why I made my whole new metal video, was because I was like I was going back through and looking at all the new metal bands I used to love in like high school and shit, and I was like, oh man, this is not as good as I remember it being, and like, and I kind of just made like a whole video on like new metal being kind of a cockroach of metal, because like their genre is dead. Like new metal's basically dead, but like it's their influence still holds in a lot of other genres, which is kind of why I made that video. But I went back through the only like band I really found when I was younger, or not band, but genre I found when I was younger that I still have a lot of love for, is like MySpace deathcore, because it's just like, oh god, I love the weirdness and the like the grittiness and the like kind of DIY-ness of them and stuff like that. I love them.
Think about it though. Think about it in the snapshot of like that point in time though. Is that not the exact same point of time we're in right now? Like the whole situation's kind of the same. Like you have some technology and a bunch of like new shit to do. Now we suddenly have a bunch of fucking free time. I think we're gonna get like a new, like, I'm not saying like a deathcore MySpace revival, but like we're gonna get some new shit like that, because how fucking cool was that shit when it came out?
Exactly.
I remember the very first time I heard Job for a Cowboy's Doom. No. What was the very first one? It was Doom, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was a Doom EP. I think it was a Doom EP.
Yeah. It was the very first EP that they put out. I forget names all the time. I'm terrible with names.
I feel you.
But like you would hear that one saying, is it Entombment of a Machine? That one song
yeah,
they always played on everything.
Yeah.
And do you remember all this, like how many shitty like GIF animations? Or, slideshow animations.
Yeah,
with that.
The AMVs and shit. Like, oh god, yeah, no, like I remember finding, like, first of all, also like I remember finding Bring Me the Horizon at when they're in their like There's a Hell Believe Me I've Seen It era, and then like going back and being like, what does their old stuff sound like, and then going back to their first album and being like, oh, they're out there, and like, and that's like, I remember finding that, and I think that's kind of how I got into deathcore. And then I went and found like old Suicide Silence and like old Chelsea Grin and old Jaw for a Cowboy and like Dr. Acula and all that stuff, and being like, oh, this is sick. I wonder what this sounds like now. And then going to it to like the modern sound and being like, oh, I don't like this as much.
Like I got a message on my Spotify the other day on Friday. I think it said there was a new 100th song, and I was like, oh shit, dude, I haven't listened to 100th in, I don't know, 8 years, 10 years. And I listened to it, and I was like, this is not the 100th. What is this?
Yeah, I feel yeah.
I had no idea they switched styles at all. Like,
yeah, dude,
they used to be fucking good, but I mean, not that it's bad, but it's not my style.
Yeah, I feel yeah. Like, yeah, no, I'm the same way. Like, I think like a lot of that stuff, like MySpace deathcore is weird because it's like this perfect time capsule, and like once you start getting outside of like Suicide Silence's second release, like around that era, that's when like all of MySpace deathcore kind of like went away and started transitioning into the modern sound of deathcore. And it's like, it's kind of weird how that happened, because there's no one forcing them to. It wasn't like ticket sales were down or some shit, 'cause they're all like weird DIY bands, but like they just kind of all started like transitioning towards like a more like cleaned up kind of more hi-fi production, and it just is kind of weird how that like happened. And that's why
you're right. I want to say I don't know what it was, but you're right though, because it's like everyone started clean singing, and then like clean singing kind of led into like that really brief like new metal revival. Do you kind of remember?
Yeah. Yeah. That like new metalcore sound.
And then after that, it was like, nope, we're going all over the place.
Yeah, and like it's cool because like it had to get really narrow so that like now we get bands like fucking See You Space Cowboy existing again. Like, and that makes me happy because that sound of like hardcore is probably my favorite sound. Like that like kind of noisecore, like really chaotic bullshit. Like I fucking love that sound. The Chariot's my favorite band.
I was gonna say, you sound like a Chariot fan.
I am a huge Chariot fan, which is why I also love Cut Both Ways, because they have very much that like live feeling to them. Because whenever they play live, they're just fucking crazy.
Speaking of, I love Alex. Shout out to Alex.
Dude, for sure, 100%. He's one of the only like people from the scene who have been over at my new place. Like, I love that man so much. We talk almost fucking daily. He's like one of my favorite human beings.
What a sweetheart, that guy.
True. What a fucking true sweetheart. He's been on this podcast twice now. I love him. Yeah, no, that like when he came on, it was great because we just talked about music for like an hour. we didn't even really talk much about Cut Both Ways in general. We like touched on it a little bit, but then we just went off for like 45 minutes about like music that we like.
That's sick, dude.
Yeah. Who's
your favorite band of all time?
Okay, that's a really good question. My favorite band of all time, I mean, it'd probably have to be the Chariot. I love Long Live is probably my favorite album ever, and like I have it on vinyl. It's one of the few vinyls I own. Like,
would you say that that's one of the first bands you found that influenced everything else, or do you think that's like just like the amalgamation of like all of the stuff you like?
I think that's more of the amalgamation of all the stuff I like, because when the first band I found was Census Failed, and afterwards the next like monumental band that I found was Suicide Silence, and that's like what kind of influenced my vocals. Was I learned just from hearing The Cleansing and being like, I wonder if I can replicate that. Then like 15-year-old me trying to just in a fucking parking lot for an hour and a half.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. I always find it weird, like how people like take their influences out of their favorite stuff, because like my favorite band of all time is Glassjaw.
Okay, yeah.
Glassjaw is one of the first bands I found. I found him on a compilation EP, and I heard Ape Dose Mill, and I was like, this stuff's fucking wild, dude. What is this? And that's how I eventually got into hardcore. However, my vocal styles and my bass playing is nothing like that. I'm not good enough bass player to play like those guys. Like, I don't know if you listen to their newest album, like that shit's fucking avant-garde as fuck. I can't play that way. It's amazing. Manny was a great bassist when Worshipman Tribute came out. That was my favorite album up until the new one, Material Control, came out. And it's like, I can't do that. So when I try to put like my style into everything, I draw a lot of like vocally for Everything Sucks. I kind of pull from Henry Rollins a little bit, mixed with like Civ from Gorilla Biscuits, if that makes sense.
No, I totally get what you mean. I totally get what you mean. By the way, I love Gorilla Biscuits.
Dude, this is like my wall of prized records, and my little Gorilla Biscuits is right there.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, I love Gorilla Biscuits, and same with Henry Rollins. I love him a lot.
I just like his rawness.
I do too. It's just
he's not a great singer, but he's a good singer.
Yeah, no, I totally get what you mean. I mean, like it's more of this like the energy that he has on stage, and just the like complete and utter like emotional outlet that he had for it. Like yeah, exactly. It was just a feeling, and the fact that he's willing to like hit anyone who touches him. I mean, there's all those great videos of him, like a fan grabbing him, and then him grabbing the fan's hair and just like laying into the fan.
It's the feeling stuff for me, man. And like with Everything Sucks, I'm not a great lyricist or anything, but like I know how to make the sounds with my voice that I have more of like a Matt Friedman from Rancid style voice.
Yeah.
So like, so it's kind of hard to do what I want to, but like with my bass playing, I pulled a lot of Glassjaw from that, because I figured out how to do some of the tricks that they do, and it's not as pretty, but it gives you the same effect. Like with 2 clicks, I would put some like barred chords in there, and it would just I always play with an 8x10 on purpose. Like,
okay, yeah.
And the reason I play with an 8x10 is I want you to feel that fucking rumble in your gut and in your chest. So if it's not shaking your belly, dude, I don't want to be playing it. So.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the original like punk rock kind of sound. It's just like, especially hardcore punk, it's just like you got to feel it. You got to feel it. It's why, like, I was watching a video last night, because I've been watching a lot more video essays about music, because I've been trying to kind of find my own style around it. And like this channel called Polyphonics, fucking wonderful channel. He was talking about the Sex Pistols London Call, or not Sex Pistols, Jesus, the Clash's London Calling album cover, and about how that like kind of came to existence. And it was talking about how when they came over to America, because that was where the market was they came over, and whereas in London they would play in like pubs and just rooms, basically like what we play in now. When you came over to America, it was all like seated areas. And like everybody was seated, which for a punk band is like a death sentence. and so they got so fed up and annoyed with like bouncers trying to keep people in their seats and not letting anyone move around that their bassist just like slammed his bass into the fucking stage, and that was the picture for London Calling. And like it's just because it's like you can't get that with almost any other genre, because punk is just so much about like the feeling and the energy, and like just it's not as much about like what people are saying, and like it's not as much about like the technicality of the instrumentation. Nope. Okay, so guys, Stan's house just lost power, and so that's why he randomly dropped out. So we're gonna call it there. If you want to check out Stan's stuff, his fucking his Instagram at is let me get it really quickly. His Instagram at, nope, that's the wrong one. That's my at. Fuck. Give me a fucking minute. There it is. His Instagram at is here. At my name is I dare. And you can check out his band, Everything Sucks. You can check it out on Bandcamp, I'm pretty sure, as well as Facebook and stuff like that. He's gonna come back on another time when his hopefully next time we'll be able to do a full episode, and hopefully he won't lose power again. It's all good though. It's not something you can control literally at all. So yeah, I'm gonna call it here. Thank you guys for listening and watching. I hope you have a good rest of your day.